again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, what we're going to be talking about is Blood Red Skies. We're going to be going ahead and opening up this box and kind of doing a little bit of a review of what's in the box and my first impressions, second impressions, third impressions. And the reason why I say first, second, and third impressions because we had an opportunity to play this at NashCon this year. Fell in love with it, decided to buy a box, and I'm going to take this opportunity to show you what is in the box. I have not opened this box yet. I reserved opening this box because I wanted to show you what you were getting if you decide to get Blood Red Skies. Alright, well, let's take a look at the box. First of all, it looks like you've got a Messerschmitt on the an ME-109 on the tail of a Spitfire. That's on the cover. That's pretty cool artwork. They got some pretty good artwork. It's made by the Bolt Action Group at Warlord Games, right? This is they say it's a two-player game, 14 years and above, but it says 2+ players because we played with 11 players in one match at NashCon, and that was a pretty fun match. It went pretty quickly, though, which is always good. When a game can go quick with a lot of players, that tells you that it's pretty streamlined. All right, so let's take a look at the contents. It says I'm going to get 6 Supermarine Spitfire Mark IIs. I'm going to get 6 Messerschmitt 109Es. I'm going to get 10 combat dice, 12 Advantage Flying Bases. Okay, one for every plane, hopefully. 12 pilot skill level discs, and we'll go into those in a minute, or, you know, when I explain the rules a little bit. 3 gaming booklets, because there's the rules, there are expanded rules, and then there's scenarios. 42 action cards, and 3 reference aircraft cards. We're not done. You get a movement template, a range finder, a navigation caliper, a 16 boom markers and 16 zoom markers. You get 6 high cover markers, and you get 6 cloud/air defense balloon clusters, and you get 3 Blenheim or Dornier DO-17 bomber counters, and 2 quick reference sheets. And it's all pictured here on the back of the box, and it might be harder to see with the whole gloss thing going on. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to break out my handy dandy X-Acto knife, and we are going to pop this board game, miniature game, tabletop, air combat games cherry. Okay, it started cutting and then it stopped cutting. What's up with that? Okay, there we go. Alright, so this game's cherry has been popped. Beautiful box. Box of goodness. By Andy Chambers. You might recognize him from other games. There we go. Pretty solid cardboard box. I'm digging it. All right, now here are the 3 rule booklets. You've got the basic rule booklet. You've got the expansion rules or expanded rules, and then you got the scenario booklet. All right, you got some combat dice. Supposed to get 10 of these. They come in a nice Ziploc bag. Let's go ahead and open them up. What's pretty cool about these dice, these are special dice. You don't really get a chance to see them, do you, on the screen? Okay. They have hash marks, you know, for numbers. Like 1 and 4 and like 5. Pretty cool, huh? And then the 6 is an ace of spades. Okay, you get a couple of Well, these look like decal sheets. Hold on. Shine that in the light. Are these decals or are these stickers? They're stickers. They just kind of look a little bit like decals. The British and the Germans. Okay, perfect. You get a sealed deck of cards. I guess that's the action cards. You get the bases, which I'm going to have to assemble. It looks. No, I don't have to assemble them. It just looks like they're all in there. Another use for my X-Acto knife. All right, now these bases have like a front arrow, but they also and a little on the base itself. There's like a little arrow letting you know where exactly the front is of your plane. But you'll see that it's bent backwards. Well, there's 3 settings to this. You got that. You got the center, which is normal, and then you got that, which is like in a dive. That's disadvantage. Normal, and then advantage on these bases. Pretty cool. There's a bunch of them. Should be exactly 12 bases. There we go. Should be 12 bases. Then we got our aircraft cards. They're in one of those little sticky sleeves that you can just peel open. And you only get 1 of each aircraft card because you don't need 100 cards on the table. All you need is 1 for each type of plane. So you got your 109, a little bit of jargon in the back. I don't know if that's a point cost or what that is, but it says 31 in the bottom left. I'm kind of assuming that's a point cost. 1940 is the year, I guess. And then you got their stats on the side here, and what kind of special traits they have, like tight turn or great dive. Every plane that you get should have a card like this. Now, something I might look for or look to acquire is a card for every plane in the war, or every plane that I can get a model for. And that all I won't even need to get a card. All I need to do is get the numbers. I can make my own cards. And then you get another card right here. It's the DO-17 and the Blenheim 4, and they've got their numbers on there as well. It does not include the DO-17 or the Blenheim, but you can get those models maybe in the open market. The models are 1/200 scale, so if you're interested in like acquiring some, I don't know, Thunderbolts or Mustangs or something like that, 1/200 is the scale that this is in. The stats for different planes are very limited at this time. They have the P-51, they have the Yak 1, I think it is. They have the 0, which is the A6M5. I saw those at the convention. I saw those. They were selling 6 models in a box for $25, and I'm sure they came with their own specialty cards and their own specialty plane cards and their own flight stands and things like that. You get in those boxes. I didn't get one of those, but I'm looking forward to maybe getting some Wildcats if those ever come out soon. They did the Zeros, so that kind of tells me that they're going to do the Wildcats. And there was a few things that I was told at the convention also about future releases that I'm not allowed to tell you, so I'm not gonna say that. Okay, now I'm just pulling up some plastic sheets here. The plastic tub. Whoa, a couple planes just flew out like they wanted out. But yeah, you get your 6 Messerschmitts and your 6 zeros Spitfires right there. They pop right out. They look beautiful. You know, I don't know if you can really see that model too good, but I am going to do a playthrough later, and we'll do some close-ups at that time. But these models look really good. They go on the stands pretty easily. The top of the stand is a triangle, and that triangle will obviously fit only one way, and that'll keep your plane flying, you know, in the direction that it's supposed to be flying in. So you go to the dive, you go to the... It's not a dive and a climb. What it is they call it disadvantage, neutral, and advantage. That's important in the game. That's a way, because they don't worry about altitude levels. That's not important at all. It matters your relationship to the other planes. Do you have advantage over those planes, or are you at a disadvantage from those planes, or are you neutral, like everybody's on equal ground or something like that? If you were tracking altitude and you were above someone, usually that means you have advantage on that plane. So instead of marking the table with like altitude sticks or anything like that, they make it easy, and they say if you're pointing up like that, you have advantage, which means you're probably flying higher than them. If you are down like this, it probably means you're below them and they have advantage on top of you. Easy. Okay. A couple of quick reference charts. Everything you need to know to play the game is really on these cards. And they're you can look at the card and you can see that there's not a whole lot of information on this card. You got the turn sequence, like who goes first, super easy, and you don't even really need that. All you need to know is advantage goes before neutral, which goes before disadvantage, and 5 goes before 4, before 3, before 2, right? Because those are the pilot skill levels, 2 to 5. So if you've got a 5 normal, you're still going to go after the 2 with advantage. Advantage is very important. So it tells you like the turn sequence. You have 5 steps. You can shoot. You can burn your advantage to do a couple of things. You can move and do a small turn. Or you can use a pilot action. Well, you can do all of this. And then you get to the pilot action, you can shoot again, or you can test your pilot skill against their pilot skill to outmaneuver them, or you can climb back to advantage. Okay, so basically you can shoot, burn your advantage, and then climb back and get advantage again. So there's a lot of things you can do. There's dodge tests when you're shooting, and we'll get into that in the playthrough, not the impressions. Okay, still unboxing. Okay, we're going to stop. We're going to jump onto this piece right here. You have clouds. You have you punch these out. Boom, you've got clouds, right? Now, on the back side, you've got barrage balloons. Barrage balloons. Clouds. Pretty awesome, right? I think so far. And there's a bunch of these different ones on this. And then on these little circles here, these are pilot skills. So, depending on your pilot skill, you pick the appropriate disc and you put it on your base. If you have, and then on the back side, there's also pilot skills. So, like there's 5, 4s, and 2s, and then all 3s here. So you should be able to get a good selection of pilot skills. This card is exactly the same. Barrage balloons, pilot skills. There you go. I'm going to pop a pilot skill out. Okay, there's a little triangular piece. We're going to pop these also seem to be popping out really easily. And then you take your flight stand, right? And this, let's say he's a pilot skill 4. I put him on there, and there you'll notice that there is like a little boat shape, a little triangle shape cut out of the center of the pilot skill, and there's a little boat shape or pilot on the base. So when you slide it on, it fits perfectly right on top of that. And you actually have to kind of squeeze it. Okay, it's tight. It's a tight fit. That's good. We're going to squeeze it on there a little tight. That way it doesn't move around on you. Okay, so now the base has a top, right? And you can see that there's squares, or I should say there's crosses. So you get your front 45-degree arcs, you got your rear 45-degree arcs. That's for tailing, that's for shooting. You got your little arrow pointing where the front is, and you got your pilot skill level right there. Easily identifiable on the table. Okay, last sheet. This is the last thing out of the box. Here's your little navigation caliper. This is for people, maybe kids, that don't really know what 45 degrees is. So you can use this because you can see the two little dots there. It helps you determine how far a plane can turn left or right 45 degrees. Then you got your I guess it's the DO and the Blenheim. You got the Blenheim on one side, the DO on the other, and it has like a little, it has a circle with the crosses for the tailing and the lead shooting and the arrow for movement and stuff, but it doesn't have an advantage-disadvantage situation because it probably never has advantage or disadvantage. It's probably always neutral. I'm just guessing that. I haven't read the rules. Okay, so on here you have wings. You can see these little wings, and you also can see these little blast markers. Well, these blast markers are called boom chits. Okay, you think boom and zoom, right? Well, these are boom chits. These are zoom chits. Zoom basically means you're done moving. You put it on your guy, that model, he's finished moving. The boom chit is damage markers. So when your side takes damage, you give your side a boom chit, not individual planes, which I thought was kind of a weird way to do it. There are ways to shoot planes down, but it's not with damage. In the playthrough, I'll explain it. It's actually very intuitive. It's very, it's kind of an alternate way to go about it, but it was pretty darn cool. It was cool enough for me to decide to buy this game. Okay, and then you have a range ruler. I thought I was supposed to have 2 range rulers. I thought I was supposed to have 2 of everything, but maybe not. Maybe there's just 1 range ruler. This is your movement ruler, right? So when you've got your figure on the table and you got your arrow pointing a certain direction, you just got a little notch there on the range ruler, and it fits right next to the base. Simple. Then you just pick your plane up. Okay, if this was the plane, right? You pick, now if he's got a movement of 7, you just pick this up and you put it down on the 7. It's got a 7 half circle there. Just hold your plane and slide this up. And there you go. That's exactly how far you can move. And then you do a 45-degree turn. Which, if you have this type of base, you've got the line there. The firing arc is also 45. You should just be able to move to the firing arc. You know, that should be a pretty self-explanatory movement. Okay, now on this, there are these marks, this little hex, red hex thing right here, which are 6 triangles, and in those triangles are little planes or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. Well, they're definitely planes, but I mean, I don't know what those are used for because we didn't use those rules. I'm going to pop this little piece out right here. And you have your range ruler. It has a slight curve on the bottom. That slight curve fits with your base, right? So when you're shooting, you just put this curve, the gun, next to your base. And if this lays on top of your enemy's base, right? Like, I know you might not be able to see that, but if it sits on top of his base, then you can shoot him. Pretty simple. So all guns have this range. Your movement, this goes from, basically it goes from 2 to 11, and you can do more. So like if you dive, you add 6. So if I go 7, and then I'll just add another 6 to that, right? So there you go. So you go a lot further that way. That's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Okay, so now I meant to give you my oh yeah. One more thing. I'll get to this here in just a minute. This is a hero. It's a hero deck right here, basically. My impressions. I played this game at NashCon this year. Warlord was putting on a demo, and we had a game where we had 11 players. We had 22. Everybody had 2 planes, which made the game 22 planes on the table. 6 on one side, 5 on the other. 22 planes. The game lasted about 1 hour before we determined who the winner was. There was only one plane that was shot down. But the rules were pretty straightforward on who was going to win, who wasn't going to win. The way the dice work when you're rolling dice, it's wow, that's a pretty good roll. But you don't really the ones, the twos, the threes are totally irrelevant on the dice. They could be blank. They could have no numbers on this dice if they wanted to, and just had one side with like a boom marker or something, but they decided to go with the ace. But you can use D6s and just use a 6 or anything, any 6-sided die that has one of the sides marked. So, because when you're rolling your dice, it doesn't matter what any of the numbers are. All you're looking at is the aces, the 6s, or whatever you want to call it. And there's no chart. There's no real chart. What you do is you add your piloting skill, in this case 4, plus your firepower. In the case of a Spitfire, it's 1. So I would be rolling 5 dice. 4, and it's more important for your pilot. You notice that? The plane only has 1. The pilot has 4. So the pilot has more impact on shooting than the plane does. It's not like a firepower kind of thing, which is low 1. But I would understand that if it had 50 cals, it might have a 2, and I'll talk about that here in a minute with this guy. And so you're rolling 5 dice, and you're just trying to get a boom counter, right? And if you get a boom, that means their side takes a point of damage, takes a boom chip, right? And then now the pilot gets to make a piloting save or a saving throw, and he's adding his agility of the plane, which is 3 in the case of the 109, and 4 for the piloting skill. So he would be rolling 7 dice, right? You roll 7 dice, and he's trying to get at least 1 boom chit, right? 1 boom marker. If he does, he negates the effect of the attack. Meaning, he does the effect of the attack is to move him 1 advantage level down. So he would go into disadvantage. And then if you're shooting at somebody that's already in disadvantage and you force them down, then they're shot down. So I thought that was pretty cool, a way to keep track. Now, just because you shoot him down, into a disadvantaged position, if there's an opportunity for him to move on the next turn, he can actually climb and go back to neutral. So it's hard to get someone shot down because you have to have more than one guy concentrating on that guy. One guy gets him down, the next guy crashes him. That's what I see. Or if you get him down like that, on the following turn, you are still at a better relative advantage than him. You're at neutral, so you would shoot at him again and shooting him down because he would go after you based on the turn schedule, right? So, okay. So there's a modifier to that. Like if I rolled my 5 dice to hit and I get 2 boom counters, then 2 or more, then the defensive roll has a -1. And when they say -1, it's -1 die, not -1 to the number, because it doesn't matter what your numbers are. All you care about is boom chits. Okay, and that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. it seemed like it was very simple, very straightforward. You know, it allowed. Okay, I've played a lot of airplane games. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I've played. I've played Air War. I played Blue Max. I've played Red Sun, Blue Skies. I've played Check Your Six. I've played, what was that jet? There was Wings of War. I've played a lot of either miniature or board game airplane games. And to me, an airplane game. Let me back this up. What I'm looking for in an airplane game, and what I hope airplane games are, is fast. You don't want an airplane game that you go, okay, it's the next turn. You want to go, okay, it's my turn, go, boom. Now it's your turn, go, boom. It's my turn now, go, boom. You know, you want it to be wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Like boom, 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 boom. That's what you want in an airplane game. You don't want it to be, let's check page 25 of the rule book to make sure you can turn left when the wind is blowing to the right and the gravity is actually 1.2 in this area or whatever. You know, I don't want, you know, there's a headwind and the temperature, you know, because of the temperature you don't have any lift. I don't want that kind of an airplane game. To me, that is, it might be accurate, okay? It might be realistic. Well, I'm not going to say realistic. It might be accurate representation or simulation of the way an airplane moves and things like that. But I want the game to move fast where it eliminates the mechanical and only goes into the emotional. Because I think an airplane game is an emotional roller coaster. He's on my tail. I'm turning around. I'm getting on his tail. I'm shooting. He's shooting. I don't know. That's what I want out of an airplane game. And this game, believe it or not, gave that to me. Because where the initial approach was we were kind of tense. We didn't know if we were going to go left or right and things like that. But once we started firing and everybody was in range, the planes were all swirling. Everybody was all over the place. And I was like, that is awesome. I don't know who I'm going to shoot. I don't know who's going to shoot me. But we're all over the place and I'm trying to dodge and people are... Yes, I was like, I'm going to buy this game. Because the rules are easy enough. You could probably teach a 10-year-old to play this game. It says 14 years, but I don't know. You probably could teach a 10-year-old to play this game. Might not, but I haven't tried. I'm not going to. But my review of this game, my review of the game is, it's easy. It's fast. It's not complicated. There are very few rules to bog down the fun. There's very little to pull the fun out of the game. The fun stays in the game. Is it super realistic? Maybe not. You know, maybe there's not. Okay, let's back up. I changed the word. Realistic? I think it is. I think it is realistic. Is it a simulation of air combat? Probably not. Okay, don't think it is. But is it realistic? Yes, because you got the excitement going on. You got people getting shot down. You got people pulling back. The way the boom counters work, and just in general, the way the mechanics of the game work. Some of it's kind of extrapolated, or what do you call the word, like not a hypothetical, but some of the mechanics are kind of streamlined, but that's good. So I keep saying the same thing over and over, so I'm going to stop saying that. I give it out of 2 thumbs, I give it 2 thumbs up. No, on a scale of like maybe 1 to 10, I would based on the other games that I've played. There's only one game out there that I thought might be better, but not really. And that was Blue Max. The original Blue Max was pretty good for World War One, but it did lack a little bit. It was too much paperwork involved in Blue Max. No paperwork, zero paperwork in this game. So this might even be a 10. It's a high 9 if nothing else. Okay, so closing things. I'm going to give you a little bonus review here. This is a hero plane, right? So George Preddy, he flew a P-51. So when you go into the box, you get a flight stand and a P-51. Is that not awesome? P-51. And a flight stand. On that flight stand, you get George Preddy's pilot disc. And then you get a couple more aces there, 5s. You get a 4, a couple of 5s, and George Preddy. Now, I want to point this out on this. There is a British roundel. Okay, I don't need that. There's a British roundel on his pilot disc. As it was explained to me, it's not because Preddy's British, because he's not, he's American. It's because the set that they've released so far is the Battle of Britain. He was released in the Battle of Britain set. So he has a little British marker there. And he gets a zoom chip that is yellow for ace. It's his wings, right? I can pretty much throw that away. Okay, keep going. We're not done. He has American stickers. Not that I need that many American stickers because I've only got one plane. But if I wanted to make those Spitfires American, I could. Okay, not that I would ever do it. Last but not least, this little baggie comes with his plane card, most importantly. The plane, the P-51D. It has a... If that is a value, it is 46 as opposed to 31. I don't know what the DO or the Blenheim are because I don't know the backside. Okay, or maybe that's plain 46. I don't think it is. I think that's a value. He has a 2 fire value, so that's double the Spitfire. But it doesn't matter because if you get an ace in a Spitfire, he's shooting with 6 dice. If you get an ace in a Mustang, it's only throwing 7 dice. So it's not that 50 cal is only 1 die of many. All right, and you get like 5 specific cards that apply only to either the P-51 or Preddy. Preddy's an ace pilot, snapshot. He's a dive master. And the plane is great dive and deep pockets. Deep pockets, what's that? Large fuel tanks and deep ammunition reserves massively increase endurance. In reaction to a deep pockets squadron receiving a boom chit, the boom chit is disregarded. Okay, so maybe I get to play this card to kill a boom chit. That's pretty cool. Basically, it gives your squadron an extra hit point. That is pretty cool. All right. So that's what you get when you get a pilot box. All right, guys. Thank you for coming out and checking out this review. And come back soon because I will be doing like a rules tutorial playthrough like I always do, boot camps. Catch you next time.